What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Patriots Fans Podcast. In today's episode, we're going to be going over the Patriots and Panthers preseason game. We're going to be going over the new kickoff rules, the quarterbacks, the biggest takeaways, pros and cons, MVPs on offense and defense, and just overall the entire game. This is an episode you're not going to want to miss. Starting off with the new kickoff mechanic, it's looking pretty good for returns and everything like that. We had Joey Sly doing the kickoffs and Chad Ryland doing our PATs, so you don't really know what we're going to be doing because the Patriots are in a kicker battle, of course. And then the quarterback rotation was Jacoby Brissett, Drake May, Bailey Zappi, and then Joe Milton. I think it's kind of weird because I don't think Zappi is going to be on the team. I think Milton's going to take that spot, especially after his performance last night. But we'll see. That battle will be interesting for the third spot. And at the same time, May and Brissett only played one drive each. So maybe keeping them for maybe the third preseason game or even for the regular season. Okay, moving on to our key players that did not play but were not inactive. We have Demario Douglas, Hunter Henry, Matthew Judon, Julius Peppers, and Jawan Bentley. Kind of just keeping those guys healthy for the regular season. That kind of solidifies Demario Douglas as a top 3 receiver on our team, which we kind of already knew, but now it's definitely set in stone. And then Hunter Henry obviously is our tight end 1. Matthew Judon still in contract disputes with the Patriots, but he also didn't play. Peppers, obviously one of our better players on the team, isn't going to play. And Jawan Bentley, our number 1 linebacker, leader of our defense, didn't play either. Then inactive key players as well. We got Christian Barmore with the blood clots that was reported on a few weeks ago. Hopefully he'll be ready by the start of the season, but it's just no knowing when he'll be ready to play. Then we had Kendrick Bourne out with a knee injury. Nothing too serious. He should be all set for the regular season. And then Cole Strange is still battling the same injury as last season. Hopefully he can be back for the regular season and give us some help on the offensive line because we definitely need it. All right, the biggest takeaways from the game. Every defensive set looked great. If it was the starters, if it was the fourth string, the Panthers only scored 3 points, and that was a big part of our defense all around. Deflected passes, ton of sacks. We had 5 sacks on the game. Just all around a great performance by our defense, which is really going to be the cornerstone for our team this year. If our defense can perform, kind of make it so our offense doesn't have to score as much, but we can score a little and win games the boring way, but with power run. Not that boring, but it's whatever. Another pro was Joe Milton. Looked like the next Cam Newton. Cam Newton, when he was on the Patriots, he was 6'5", 280 in pads. Joe Milton's 6'5", like 260 in pads. Joe Milton looked great. His running was good. His throws were great. I feel like Joe Milton could make a push for that QB1 spot if it came down to it. If we're like 0-5 to start the season, I think Joe Milton could crawl up into the QB1 conversation, at least go into a competition with Drake May and Jacoby Brissett. So that should be fun. And then Krishan Boudier made some great catches. He had 3 catches for 53 yards. One of them setting up a touchdown. I mean, he's obviously somebody fighting for a roster spot, so he definitely needs to perform in this preseason, and it looks like he was last night. Let's see if he can continue that. And then the rookie receivers just look good. We had Baker, Jackson, and Polk all with a lot of catches. Not a lot of catches, but a lot of production. They're just looking really good. I think the Patriots offense is on a good trajectory for this season. The one con I had was that Drake May only played 1 drive. Ultimately, it was raining. Don't want him to get hurt. You want to keep him behind the starting offensive line. But ultimately, if we could have had him play maybe 2 or 3 drives, kind of see more out of him. But that's for later in the preseason. Hopefully, he'll play in week 3, maybe week 2 a little bit more. We'll have to figure it out. Moving on to the stats for the game, we'll start off with the quarterbacks. Jacoby Brissett was 0 for 3. He only played 1 drive. It was a quick 4-play drive. Ramondre Stevenson got the first down, and then it stalled. Drake May was 2 for 3 for 19 yards. Drake May, he only played 1 drive as well. It was a quick drive. We got 1 first down. Other than that, it's whatever. Bailey Zappi was 12 for 20 for 108 yards and then 1 for 6 on the ground. Bailey Zappi played pretty well, and as the broadcasters kind of said, I think it was Devin and Jason McCourty, he's kind of auditioning for 31 other teams in this preseason since he doesn't nobody thinks that he's going to make the Patriots roster just because of the guys that we brought in during the offseason, Brissett, May, and Milton. There's no room for a fourth quarterback. Maybe he could be on the practice squad, but I think that he could be a good backup somewhere else, just not here. There's no room for him. And then Joe Milton was 4 for 6 for 54 yards, a passing touchdown, and then 5 for 22 on the ground. Joe Milton looked so good in this game. Like I said before, he's looking like Cam Newton when he was on the Patriots. And we were only a few pieces away, maybe a few more receivers, maybe a better running back when Cam Newton was here and our defense wasn't as good. But now with this defense, the pieces we have built around our quarterback, I think if Joe Milton gets a chance, this team is going to be really, really good this coming season. Okay, switching off to the rushing side of things, Kevin Harris, our 4th round pick last year, 8 for 22 with a touchdown. It was a 2-yard touchdown, ultimately not the most exciting, but it was a touchdown. First touchdown of the preseason for the Patriots. It was a very tough run. I mean, he did what he needed to do to score it. Then JaMychal Hasty was 5 for 10, and Terrell Jennings was 6 for 38. Terrell Jennings was in when Joe Milton was in. That was kind of the 4th string offense. Not really 4th string because I don't think Milton's going to be the 4th string quarterback, but it was definitely the bottom half of the depth chart. Jennings fighting for a roster spot, just like most people in this preseason. Highlighted some receivers' performances, starting with Javon Baker. He was 2 for 11. He's one of our rookies that we hope to see some production from UCF. Kashawn Boudier, 3 for 53, as I mentioned before. He had a good game. You know, he's fighting for a roster spot. He's second year out of LSU. Hopefully he can do enough to make the team to impress the coaches. I like him. He's a good player. And then Jaquan Jackson, the rookie, he was 1 for 38 and a touchdown. I mean, if you're only going to make one catch in the preseason as a rookie, at least take it to the house. And that's what he did. A great throw by Joe Milton, as I mentioned before. And yeah. And then Jalen Polk, 3 for 14. He's from Washington. He was our 2nd round pick. We need him to perform. And he was making some great catches. He looked good out there. So hopefully that can translate to the regular season. Okay, on the defensive side of the ball, like I said before, we played a great game on defense. I highlighted the sacks. We had Christian Ellis with a sack, Joe Morgan with a sack, Petrick Wise with a sack, Exemius with a sack, and Farms with a sack. Sacked the quarterback 5 times, and that's big for our defense. Even though it was the 2nd unit for the Panthers and the 2nd unit for the Patriots, I mean, sacks are sacks, right? So our defense is very, very good this year, and it's going to be very, very good this year. All right, moving on to the MVPs of the game. I got one for the offensive side of the ball, and I have one for the defensive side of the ball. Our offensive MVP for this game is Joe Milton. Joe Milton came into the game, kind of brought light to the game. It was kind of a boring game leading up until Joe Milton came in, and then every play was just electric because you didn't know if he was going to run, you didn't know if he was going to pass, hand it off. It just made the game feel better, and like I said, he was 4 for 6 for 54 yards and a touchdown, and then 5 for 22 on the ground. And then for our defensive MVP, I picked Christian Ellis. He had 4 tackles, 2 assists, a sack, and a tackle for a loss. I mean, we need people like that, kind of like a backup that can do that kind of stuff on our defense to make our defense what we need it to be to win games. And yeah, the Patriots won 17-3 against the Panthers, and we play the Eagles next Thursday. So hopefully we can bring this momentum into that game. If you guys did enjoy, make sure you like and subscribe. Follow us on TikTok at Patriots Fans Podcast, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Peace.